What is up, wrestling fans? It's Tony here from WTC, and I'm always honored and pleased to be joined by Mr. Paul Anand here from the Wrestling Card Price Guide. How are you today, sir?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. I have something here of a hot topic for you for this episode that I've been kind of viewing for the last several weeks, and I thought I'd bring it to you. And all I've told you about this episode is like, hey, have you noticed some of the non-sport stuff out there getting some big prices? And wrestling kind of falls in that gray area of it's
It does.
non-sport versus sport. So we kind of look at it from both ways. And in my wonderful viewings on social media, checking out, sorry about that. I got some beeping going on here. I've come across some interesting numbers on some non-sport stuff. You and I have talked about this before in the past, where we talked about other sports and what their big cards are versus wrestling.
Yeah.
And we kind of, did a lot of sports stuff. We did golf, we did hockey, we did baseball, basketball. We even threw in some non-sport stuff, some Pokemon, things like that. Well, I've been kind of monitoring it ever since.
Okay.
Like I had that kind of time, but I do it. And I want to throw some numbers at you, and I want you to get your reaction on this, what you think about it. A lot of it is all Topps product, by the way.
Okay.
So it's a testament, I think, to the marketing that Fanatics and Topps are doing to promote their products a lot more than they ever used to before.
Right.
And a lot of it is Disney related stuff, um, as far as the Disney franchise itself, in addition to some of the stuff under that umbrella, including Marvel, Star Wars, things of that nature. There's been an explosion of non-sport stuff getting this kind of money now that we're seeing in wrestling. As you know, when we do our top 10, things like that, it becomes really difficult to be in the top 10 if you haven't hit five, six, $7,000 now.
Exactly.
It's really, and we're having a lot of five-figure sales. So I'm going to throw one at you right here. We have a card, a PSA 10 card, that sold for $50,000 in the non-sport world. Care to take a guess at what that could be?
Star Wars?
SpongeBob SquarePants, a Squidward art card sold for $50,000 PSA 10.
You see, I'm not familiar with any of those properties.
SpongeBob is a huge hot property right now that one of the licenses from Topps. And even my employee Alex here, he's a huge SpongeBob guy, really tried hard to get in it and buy, because it's done through Fanatics, so it's always a product drops, either you win or you don't win the lottery kind of thing. And we didn't win, so I was trying to get him some boxes. They're expensive. I
Mhm.
mean, Topps Chrome SpongeBob is $400 plus a box.
So
And
comparable.
you're looking at their sketch cards, autograph cards from anybody from, Tom Kenny, who's the voice of SpongeBob, to all the characters, even Mark Hamill from Star Wars fame. He's I think the Flying Dutchman voice in the movie that just came out
Okay.
um, as well. So he's in there as well. We have some other big hits in there too. We have other ones. We have La Boo Boo. You ever heard of La Boo Boo cards?
I don't know anything. Oh, Labubu has nothing to do with SpongeBob. It's a whole different
No, it
thing.
had nothing to do with
Oh,
SpongeBob.
okay.
Whole different things like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna thoroughly embarrass myself on this episode because I'm not gonna know any of this fucking shit.
Well,
Spent too much time watching the
I'm
wrestling.
doing the really oddball stuff, and I'm
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to get
but
into
with the
stuff
big
that,
numbers. But
of like.
I could tell you. Do you count Pokemon as non-sport? Because I could tell
Of course
you
you do. Yeah, of course you do. But surprisingly, I don't have any Pokemon on this because Pokemon already is
its own
uh,
thing.
its own thing, which we all know their values are extremely high on that.
Yeah, I know that the top Pokemon card's 16 million.
I think we all do. We all know that.
I could answer intelligently to that one. That's about it. Anyways,
So
Boo Boo, you
a
said like
Labubu card,
as
which
in Honey
is
Boo Boo?
not a Honey Boo Boo, it's Labubu card. So it sold for $58,000.
What? What is it?
$58,000.
What is it? Like what is it? A cartoon?
It,
Is
it,
it?
it's some kind of an animation thing, so like that. I'm too not familiar with it. I just saw the thing on this site that I follow, and it's crazy, crazy numbers. We have. I want to get to that. We have a 2021 Star Wars Galaxy card of Darth Vader,
Yeah.
a PSA 10, sold for $31,000.
Wow. Was that autographed by like James Earl Jones or some such?
Not even autographed.
Not even autographed, huh?
Not even autographed. Nope.
I know Star Wars insofar as movie franchises and Star Trek, I guess too, but I know Star Wars, the early top series, the reds and or the blue wine.
Sure.
I know that those mint. I've seen boxes with you at the National where I've seen the boxes for like $4,000. So I can only imagine that license is a big one. But I've never even heard of Boo Boo. Jesus.
Yeah. And then I have another one here, and these are it. And then we're going to discuss why we think this phenomenon is
Yeah.
going on. I have a Topps Chrome. All these are Topps cards, by the way. They're all Topps cards. Topps Chrome of Marvel, Topps Chrome Marvel.
Right? Marvel's a big license, obviously.
One of one, Iron Man face card
Yeah.
sold for a record $136,640.
A PSA what? Was it graded?
Yes.
PSA 10. Yeah. So it's the same thing. If you get a PSA 10 in these top most rare, they can go up like that, I guess. Because that would be the equivalent of our rock, our black rock, right? Our rock prism, basically. The
Oh, and
one,
that was a seven.
yeah, that was only a 7. Well, yeah, we don't have a 10 in the Hogan vintage. So yeah,
Nope.
because I got a 10 and it was a specific Marvel card. So I guess Marvel, Disney, and you count Star Wars and all that under the Disney umbrella now.
It's
And
because
Marvel too, right?
this account that I follow is all about tops. It's called Tops Pop.
Okay.
And I recommend that people go and follow this account on Instagram called Tops Pop. It's a pink logo. They kind of record all these big sales that are going on in the non-sport world.
Yeah, like
Obviously,
we do for wrestling.
it's going to be Tops oriented, of course. And but because Tops has every license out there imaginable, basically, with Star Wars and Marvel and obviously WWE and they have all these different things out there, SpongeBob. And these cards are commanding big money now. And I think the market is expanding beyond just the sports and wrestling's already been absorbed into that market now a little bit
Yeah.
while we kind of hold it into the non-sport world. It's still being absorbed into sports. I mean, now we got the new Tani and John Cena, one of one that's going to be out there now. So they're bridging those together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, does that become John Cena's rookie baseball card?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
it's Otani's rookie wrestling card.
yeah, oh, yeah, vice versa. Yeah, actually, yeah. So we have a lot of this stuff going on, and what do you attribute that to? Why do you think
Well, I
we're now
remember
starting to
a
see
couple years ago when
more
we
non-sport?
one of our collectors series we had Ryan Shearer and Chuck because both those guys were big into Batman and non-sports and they sort of went down the different titles and movies and all the different things and I remember I used to get the non-sport update magazine that the Tozers put out back in the day, which was a fabulous magazine that showed you Mars attacks and you name it. And I know that that segment has been growing. Obviously, I spend my days with my face knee deep in wrestling, but I guess to answer your question, why? First of all, you pointed out that it's all tops and it's all tops chrome. Those are just known brands that get a lot of money. But I guess why not? I mean, if we can be getting five-figure sales in wrestling on a regular basis, why can't the top Star Wars or the top Marvel or the top movie? When I was a
I'm
kid,
looking at another one. Those are all PSAs, but I have a
right?
CGC card that was a CGC. It looks like it's just certified authentic. It's a Marvel license, signed Chris Evans, Captain America, that sold for $17,100.
Yeah, see, those are big numbers. I remember seeing like not the complete set, but a number of the Walking Dead cards signed. And it had Rick and it had the main characters. And it was like, I'm going to say like 10 to 15 of them, but I think there was actually more in the set. And it got five figures, but that was for a whole whack of cards. But when you talk about one card from Boo Boo, which I don't even know what that is, and that's getting over 50, that's incredible.
Oh,
That's
you're
a very keen observation that market is still, and we see that at the National, like the National, the amount of stuff there. Because remember, Chuck was asking us to look for these Cowboys and Indians kinds of cards specifically, and I can't remember the other ones. I think it was Doctor Who maybe. Um,
Doctor Who cards. Yeah.
we had no shortage of tables selling some sort of non-sport. So, like anything, if you see more of that stuff at the National, that means there's more of a market, more of a demand, bigger dollars for it. As to why, I think it's just part of the general growth that we've seen over the last decade in trading cards in general. The hobby's just on a high. It started with COVID, people sitting around looking at the computer screens, and you know, we always have the question: Are we in a bubble or
I
prices?
got, I got, I got, got two more for you, by the way.
Okay,
So,
is there going to be an
I
adjustment?
got,
I
I got
don't
two
think so. Anyways, what else?
I got two more for you. So also from SpongeBob SquarePants, we had a PSA 9, Plankton. He's the enemy who actually has a restaurant across the away from the Krusty Krabs like that. That one sold for
I presume you know
17,000.
this because of Anthony, right? Anthony watches this stuff. That's why you know it, right?
Oh no, I've been a SpongeBob fan
Have
since
you?
my daughter. My daughter's gonna be 2 this year, so we watched SpongeBob from the beginning.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Um, and then we have another card. So Toy Story.
The movie.
So Toy Story card, a one of one Woody trading card, PSA 10, sold for $75,000.
Wow. You see? You see? So it's not just us. It's not just we can't be saying, "Oh, look at how well wrestling cards are doing." If all these other cards are on the rise as well, it just speaks to the overall phenomena, doesn't it? Of trading cards in general, just going higher. And it's
Yeah.
not just stick and ball anymore. It's wrestling. It's non-sport. It's boo-boo.
Yeah, so it's interesting to me to see these numbers and where it's going. And me as a collector, I'm happy to see the entire market still, growing in that direction. It's great.
Yeah,
I understand that it does, and it's a whole different topic. I don't want to get into it, but I understand that, it upsets some because it's, well, I can't afford these kind of things anymore. It's like that. But we've already known this already. The market changes. Um, Either you tailor the way you collect and move and continue to go, or you just get kind of left behind, I think. But the entire market as a whole, even in the non-sport world, is continuing to grow. And I'm just wondering where else it goes to. We go into the music cards? Do we go into other movie franchises? Because traditionally over the years, movie trading cards don't do well as far as value goes. For
right.
a long time there, during the Inkworks era, for Inkworks trading cards, it was all about TV licenses,
Shows.
Buffy, Angel, Roswell, all those things were doing very well in the trading card world. People were going crazy for that stuff. Even Walking Dead in the later years,
Yeah.
after that. So Rittenhouse stuff, Star Trek licenses, Outer Limits, Twilight Zone, that kind of stuff was going for good money. Now it goes for a lot more money now, actually. And I'm just kind of wondering and wanting to see it kind of sprinkle out into the other markets and other areas and genres like that. And as we continue to keep rising in wrestling too, I think you're going to start seeing other stuff.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to start seeing some of that crossover. You're going to find some maybe the Cyndi Lauper set that had some
Yeah.
wrestling involvement like becomes bigger because it's got
The
that
Rocky
cross.
set.
Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember like when I was a kid, Happy Days cards were big, Charlie's Angels cards were big. So all the 70s shows, obviously Star Wars. So that stuff is gonna appreciate, I'm sure, because it's got a bit of a vintage factor to it. And like I say, I remember in those non-sport update magazines, I would sit and read that magazine for hours because there was just so much neat stuff in there. And I remember
Same.
once they even did a feature on you and wrestling cards, the very first time we got sort of um, widespread coverage. So very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. It's an interesting
Yeah.
topic.
So I
Again,
just
I'm
thought
not an expert on any of these cards at all. I don't have any of them. I didn't even know
well, it's
they
always nice. It's always nice to have an employee here at the store when they're,
Sure.
is only 24 years old and kind of
Yeah.
keeps me grounded and what's kind of cool now.
Well,
So
like my wife and I, we never had kids, so we don't have that Disney collection on our shelves with all the movies, and I don't know who all the young entertainers are. You just don't, you know what I
yeah,
mean? You miss out on a lot. I've tried to stay young by watching wrestling and such, but sometimes the younger generation they got to spoon feed it to you, or you just don't have a clue.
yeah, I agree, man.
Yeah.
But it's nice having him around because it keeps me grounded. We start talking about these SpongeBob cards and this cards, and now he's cards. I got him really into cards. He's an action figure guy that I've gotten into trading cards now. He's kind of gravitating away from action figures more and more into trading cards. But he's, a huge, Miami Hurricanes fan. So he loves college football and college, and especially that team. So he has a love for both because he's going to have a little bit of Dwayne Johnson. He
Yeah.
played for them. Warren Sapp, Ray Lewis kind of stuff. So he's out collecting those things now and loves that kind of crossover. Like there's a case in point, when we'll wrap this up, is he didn't know that there was that People's Champ rock card set from Comic Images.
Oh, the
One,
2000 set.
yeah, one of the cards in there is of him throwing up the U sign.
Oh, really? He's in the
And
set.
in the back, it talks about him being a Miami Hurricane. So he's like, this is like the best of both worlds for me.
Yeah, that's a crossover for two
Yeah.
sets. Yeah, very good.
So I think we're going to see that because, since wrestling's such a big mainstream thing, we're going to see a lot more wrestling probably in the future here of like into other things where we're going to have tops putting like, as they start putting out their NBA stuff and their NFL stuff, we might start seeing some crossover wrestling with football, wrestling with, basketball. Who knows?
Yeah, because
And
there is a CM Punk hockey card. There's quite a few. There's quite a bit of it. We did that other episode on Leaf, and they're the ones that do the crossover stuff. Where you'll see Hulk
sure.
Hogan and Donald Trump, Hulk Hogan and a golfer, Hulk Hogan and his next door neighbor. They just
Well,
do everybody.
I think you're gonna see more of that with tops now that they have just about every damn license out there.
Yeah,
I think you're gonna
that is
start
yeah.
seeing more crossover stuff to try to really bridge. collectors to get into other things like that, bring those wrestling fans into baseball or baseball into wrestling kind of stuff like that. You don't know what their freaking marketing ploys are. So
And that could be the answer to your question. That's why we're seeing the growth in non-sports is that more people are coming on board because you're getting these kinds of things that are sort of driving you towards it. Very
absolutely. So
interesting. Very, very, very cool.
cool stuff, man. So if anybody else out there, do you collect other things besides wrestling? Do these numbers like blow your mind? Do you see other avenues, other market? What other areas that haven't really been exploited that much that you think we're going to grow? I personally am a big fan of the music scene and music cards, and I think beyond just the some one-offs that you find at concerts or old festivals and stuff like that, but mass-produced stuff like your old pro sets of Yo MTV Raps or Superstars and Music kind of stuff. I think those things, I'm kind of hoping, I think those things are going to start kind of growing over time where you have like for me, like, oh, I got a cheap trick on a trading card back from the
Yeah.
Superstars music stuff like that, you know?
Don't you have those Kiss solo album cards? Is that you?
I do. I have, all I'm missing is Paul Stanley. I get Paul
You got
Stanley's
three of
off.
the four.
I
Yeah.
have, I have the card unsigned. They were all unsigned. I got three of the four guys to sign in person.
There you
So I just need Paul Stanley, and as far as I know, I'll
go.
be the only guy in the world to have a completed autograph set.
Well, I remember 4 years ago when I first met Ryan Shearer, his Grail card was a David Bowie card. We were
Yeah,
talking about wrestling, we were
still
talking
is.
about sports. We got into discussion about a specific Bowie card, and I'm like, "Well, tell me about it. I don't know anything about it. I don't know if he's gotten it yet. Probably not, but
Yes, doesn't have it. No,
yeah, yeah. So there's a market out there for all this stuff, and if you're into these particular types of entertainment, they can whet your appetite with cards, and then if they make a Chrome version and you get a PSA 10, you dime it, the next thing you've got a $50,000 card. It's
so
wonderful.
I don't want to get into that subject. I think it's good for another episode where we'll have a hot topic episode, but we can talk about, you know, people who are buying these cards, and I think some of them are actually influencers and people like that who are getting into it, maybe trying to establish a market and that stuff. We can have another conversation about that and what we think about what's going on with that market.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting one as well. Very nice.
All right, man. That's all I got for you, man.
Cool. Good topic. Good hot topic.
Good hot topic. All right, guys. We'll talk to you guys next time, man. Let us
See
know
you
what
guys.
else you want to talk about, and we'll talk about it.
Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you.